Today I want to talk about how to make dashboard using PivotTable and other chart tools. Here's a simple example that I made here using the reservation dataset. As you can see, there's a title, dashboard, revenue from each channel. Here are the 3 channels from calls from retail vendors and from the internet. And for each channel, I have the different products. Their percentages are shown here. In addition, I'd also, for user's sake, have these 2 slicers, one slicer and one timeline, so that it could say, for example, click each year or select 2 years data and see how these proportions change for each of the channels. Here is the workday of the pickup. I can choose, okay, for those orders that are pick on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or are there any systematic difference? So you can see this is a pretty effective dashboard. Now, how do I make that? Let's talk about some of the steps. First of all, you need to have the underlying data ready. So let me zoom out here. And the date for this one, I have also the pivot table supported here. So now it's your call whether you want to show the data or not. But in my case, I just want to show the dashboard here. So now, in terms of pivot table itself, it's pretty simple. You can see that you just put a channel in the rows, and the column is the products, and in here we show the sum of revenues. There are some details to pay attention to, though. For example, you notice that for some slices of the data, there may be empty value. So you actually need to go into view setting and say, well, even if there's no data, I still want to show that. And the same goes for the columns here. You want to take care of that so that your charts always shows up as correct. Now, what are these type of chart? Let me explain a little bit in detail. They are not pivot chart because I want to separate them out so that visually looks appealing instead of one big this is called a donut chart. So what I do, let me zoom in again, and I actually made one kind of manually. So let's see how I did it. If you do select data, so it's actually just the first row here, and with the headers, okay. And let's go to the second one. If you do select data, so now you can see this is just the second row and with the header. So this is just a donut chart. So if I were to begin with an empty space here, I would right click and say select data and add. Now I'm going to here, the name is web, and the series values are here, and I want to add the labels here. So that's the label. Click OK. Now you can see that's how I generated this chart. Now we need to, of course, add data label, and that will be also, I want to customize a little bit. Format data label. I want a percentage instead of value, and I want a category name. Okay, so that's how we make this donut chart up here. Now, lastly, I want to talk about this slicer. Now you can see that this is indeed more convenient than the filter fields in the pivot table, because I don't need to actually show the pivot table. So instead of I have the slicer for the users to use. Now to do that it's also simple. So you just select everywhere in the pivot table, and you go to Analyze, Insert Slicer. So now you could insert other slicers. For example, day of reservation. Let's just try that out. Okay, and I could let me zoom out just a little bit. And I could say this slicer goes here, and I could even do some formatting, slicer setting. Oh, here, let's go do this way. Size and property, position and layout. I want to say 2 columns. Or just to be consistent, let's do 3 columns here. So now I really give another dimension of slicing to the data, so users can select on the day of reservation to see whether there's any different patterns here. Now, even there's no data, it just shows no charts, which is fine. So if you want to get rid of this slicer, click Clear Filter. So I hope this is useful. So again, the steps are: have a goal. What do you want to show in terms of dashboard? Remember, keep it simple and clear. So, and then based on the goal, decide what type of charts to show. It could be a line chart, it could be a donut chart like this, and do very clear formatting, clear and simple. And experiments with different layout, of course, and over time you will have a wonderful dashboard.